Hi, I want to welcome you guys to Restoration Ecology for spring 2019. It's ENR 6130. I am Dr. Thea Hagen. I have a lot of introductory material for Restoration Ecology available to you, but I want to spend a few minutes going over the syllabus with you. So that was your homepage. You click on syllabus and you can see there are several tabs to click here. First is the course description. The course will introduce you to restoration ecology, which is the process of assisting in the recovery of an ecosystem that has been degraded, damaged, or destroyed. Learning outcomes and course topics you can read over. The best way to reach me is by email, but I do have office hours most mornings, definitely on Tuesday and Thursday morning. If you'd like to call this office number and speak in person, feel free to do that. Navigating through the course. The course is broken into modules, so you can click this module tab here to see the layout of the course. Here's all the introductory material you're working through now. You're in syllabus overview and expectations. I introduce myself next and then ask you to introduce yourself, some more tips about Canvas, if you would like that, and then you'll begin the first module. Begins with an introduction, then your first presentations or lectures for the class, and your first reading. I encourage you to work through the class using this module framework or setup. If you just go to assignments over here or quizzes, it will be difficult for you to follow the flow of the class. So, I expect you to first watch the lectures, then do the readings, and then your assignment is actually after you have watched the first sets of lectures and then the first two readings, your first assignment will be due. So this is the way the course makes the most sense. It's the way the on-campus undergrads who are also in this class, they're in the 4130 section, will be working through the class. Regarding the presentations or lectures, first little tip that some students missed initially is that there are two lectures here. So the first, topic 1, what is restoration ecology? Then you click the second tab. For topic 2, all of the lectures or presentations are set up this way. Some of them even will have 3 topics. So make sure you're clicking all the tabs and watching all of the lectures. You click here to watch the lecture. You also have available to you a PDF that you can take notes on. A little tip on these lectures related to what I will ask from them on your exams. You are going to want to pause the lecture while you're watching it. So these lectures are fairly short. They encourage me to do that from an online learning standpoint because it's hard to keep people's attention with a long lecture. So this isn't the way I deliver content in class. I've cut the lectures into short 15 to 20 minute pieces, but I expect you to be very interactive with them while you're watching them. So what I mean is you will pause it and take notes, perhaps on every slide or on many of the slides. You have available to you to watch the lecture multiple times. So you might, as you're reviewing for the exam, rewatch a lecture or rewatch all the lectures depending on how good the set of notes are that you took initially. So while the lecture itself is short, it wouldn't surprise me if it takes you 45 minutes to get through it, which is, again, the way it would be delivered in class in a 50-minute class period. The lecture, I would do the lecture, but I'd also do the discussions, which you're doing online, and then questions and feedback from the students. So there's a lot more repetition and pausing when I deliver these lectures in person. So I want to encourage you to take that time with these lectures or presentations so that you have the detailed level of knowledge that I sort of expect when it comes time for the exam. So that was just a little tip from me. We can go back to looking at the syllabus. You will do readings in each module. There are 22 in total in the entire course. You do not have to buy a textbook. So the first few modules, I think through module 3, is based fairly heavily on the text. But after that, we go into more specifics related to specific ecosystems and that kind of thing. And that material I created myself using readings, some of which you will do, and personal experience as well. So you're not required to buy the text. All the readings are provided to you in Canvas. and you will take a quiz on each reading. The readings are on the exam. So 22 readings is a lot. You have a midterm and a final, so it's not all on one exam. But if you are trying to figure out what you need to study from each reading, I would point you towards the quiz question I ask for each reading. So that quiz question is what I think is most important from each reading. So that's would be the focus of my studying in terms of what you need to know from the readings for the exam. Here I've talked briefly about the exams, and here it is. So your midterm, you will take the midterm sometime between February 23rd and February 27th. It will take about an hour and a half, I think I have it. You are going to be required to install the Respondus Lockdown browser and sign an academic integrity statement to take the exam. So the Lockdown browser will keep you from opening any other materials on whatever computer you're taking the exam on. And then the academic integrity statement asks you to sign and agree with the statement that you are not using outside materials. So you're not looking at your notes for the class, you're not pulling material up on your phone, you're not contacting other students in the class, you're doing it on your own based on your knowledge of restoration ecology at that point. The format, multiple choice, matching, essay, and short answer questions. Another part of this class, so you have readings, you have exams, you will also have discussions, and there are 60 points worth of discussions in the class, 5 points each, so 12 discussions roughly. So some modules have 2, some have 1. And your first discussion points will come, the first 5 points are from introducing yourself, which is fairly easy to do. We have about 15 students in the class, so I'll break you into 2 discussion groups so that the discussions don't get too large and take too much time for you to read through everyone's post. I expect you to make an original contribution to a discussion, and then you need to comment on someone else's discussion post. If you don't make 2 posts, your original post and a reply to someone else's original post, you don't get the full 5 points. When you reply to someone else, you can't just say, oh, cool, great point. I need you to, like you're having a conversation or we're doing this exercise in class, contribute something meaningful to the discussion. So you can say, hey, that was a great point. It made me think of this experience I had, or this reading that I have looked at before in another class, or something like that. So you have to reply with some sort of substance, some sort of meaningful contribution to a discussion. So readings, exams, discussions. The next part of your grade in this class will come from assignments, and there are 11 of them that I have detailed here. There are a few things that I'd like to mention about these assignments. Some of them require that you go outside and collect data or take observations. So you will want to look at the assignments ahead of time so that you can plan to have the time to complete the assignments. So, for readings and discussions, you can sort of do those the day of that they're due, but the assignments take some planning ahead of time. So if you're going to need to be outside for a couple hours to do an observation, you might need to think about doing that on the weekend or some time when you're not at work. They also are linked or build together, which is a confusion that students have had in the past. So an example of this, original system, review of a case study, you're fine. You can do those on your computer. You don't have to be outside. Restoration success and a remnant observation are 2 sort of linked assignments that need to be done outside. So the remnant observation with the students here on campus, I do first, and we go look at a fairly unimpacted ecosystem in the area and take remnant observations. I have detailed instructions in the assignment about what observations I'm asking for you to take. Then the next week's lab, we go to an area that has been restored and think about if it's a restoration success, keeping in mind the remnant we saw the week before and what it looked like. So I want you to think of a place near where you live or work, where you could do those 2 assignments, and go ahead and start planning out when you would do it. You can see the due dates for those assignments on Canvas. The next and final time that you will have to go outside is the site inventory assignment. You will find an area close to you in need of restoration. You will go to it and do a site inventory, which is collecting baseline data essentially for that site. Then the final project for the class is to create a restoration plan for that site. So those two assignments are linked in the site inventory. Again, you'll have to plan some time outside to do it. Think of somewhere close to where you work, where you live, or even if you visit where you grew up frequently. I have students do that, or an area where they spent time when they were younger, something like that. So think about that. You're going to have to go outside to do that, to collect that information, and the best use of your time is to go ahead and think of a place that you could create a restoration plan for and do the site inventory for that same site, so you don't end up doing two site inventories, which happened to a few students last spring. The remainder of the assignments, again, will take a little more time than completing a reading or a discussion, but they can be done from, inside your home. So the Prairie Restoration Quiz and Discussion, Urban Restoration Quiz and Discussion are in-person labs that we do here on campus that I have recorded and converted into online labs for you, climate questions, creating a case study. I have a little more information about that here. And then identifying a new reading, you can do all of those on the computer, but again, they're going to take a little more time. Particularly the create a case study assignment. You will choose a restoration project. Of all the assignments, this is worth the most points. And it's really sort of a project that you'll do 2/3 of the way through the course. You will create a case study on a project that you research. And I have, again, detailed instructions in Canvas on how to do that, but I want you to go ahead and plan ahead. This is something you would want to work on for multiple weeks and not try to do the day that it's due or the day before. Your final project, again, something you will work on, it's worth quite a few points, you will work on for quite some time, is creating a restoration plan for a piece of property near you. So let's go over grades. So we've talked about the quizzes from the readings, participation in discussions, the assignments, which I just detailed, your final project, which is again to create a restoration plan, and then your two exams, your midterm and your final, is the total for your points. My attendance policy, obviously everything is online, but participation in these quizzes, discussions will make sure that you are engaged every week and working through the modules. Late assignments, you lose a letter grade per day. So this is for anything. If you turn a quiz in late, you lose a letter grade, which is essentially a point, since they're worth 5 points. Same thing for discussions, a point off for each day that you are late. The assignment's a letter grade off for each day that you're late. You can calculate exactly what your grade will be by following through this formula here, which is pretty basic. The other tabs on this syllabus overview are the technical skills you should have. Online conduct, this is particularly important for the discussions. If you aren't sure how to conduct yourself, this is a good guide. Academic integrity, so I will use something called Turnitin for your create a case study assignment to make sure you are not sort of plagiarizing, not just other students, but particularly copying content from online. And then student support services that you may need, disability services, access to the library, technical support, writing center if you are having a difficult time with some of the writing assignments, could be a great resource. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just want to mention a few sort of tips that I feel like help students. The first is that there is a Canvas app available for free from Google Play or iTunes, whatever the iPhone equivalent store is, that will allow you to look at some things on your phone. So I encourage you to watch the lectures, complete the assignments and things on a desktop or laptop computer, but it can be nice on your phone if you're trying to respond to a discussion post or check a due date to have that available to you on your phone. So that app could be helpful. I'd also like to show you the calendar feature, which lays out the due dates for all of your assignments, readings, discussions in Canvas. If you already have another calendar app that you use, you can copy this calendar feed here into Google Calendar, which is what I use, or you can use Outlook or iCal if you have an iPhone. So that can help you to sync and see, and you'll be able to turn on if you have multiple classes, so you can see all those due dates on your phone or whatever calendar app you use. The last tip I have is you can go to Account and click Notifications. Canvas sends you a lot of notifications, an overwhelming amount, I feel like. This is the way you can change that. So you have options: notify me right away, daily summary, weekly summary, don't send me anything. I've turned off quite a few, except for grading, for instance, because that's what I need to do, or know that there are assignments that need to be graded. So that could help you if you are overwhelmed by the number of notifications Canvas is sending. I am open to all questions. There's a place here in the introduction material to ask questions about the Restoration Ecology syllabus, and I encourage you to post anything there, introduce yourself. I hope you guys have a wonderful semester. Go Tigers!